mistakes force us to deviate from our path, and through that deviation, it forces us to see maybe there's something we're doing that isn't as good or isn't as optimal. And with that, we learn. You know, a lot of how we got here is through mistakes. How you doing, everyone? My name is Harris Carr. Just want to introduce myself. I own Artisanal Goods, and this is Amir. Hello. Yeah, so today we're doing some baking. Kind of the process that everybody thinks about when they think about, you know, a bakery. They think about baking, but you know, there's a lot that goes involved in the process. Right now, these are the beginning of our almond honey danishes. So this is a almond. It's a little messy. This is our almond paste that we make. Everything we make here is from scratch. So there's nothing that, no fillings that we do that are store-bought, even our jam. But so we're doing this, and then we're gonna top it with almonds in a second, and then bake them off. After they're done baking, we're gonna drizzle honey over them. Gives them a nice caramely flavor. My alarm.
What time is it?
What's up?
What time is it?
It is, this is where it helps having a watch. 7:40.
Okay.
But yeah, so we do this 6 days in the week because we're closed on Monday. And we get in early, but it's not too early. You know, some bakeries, people are getting in there at like, you know, 2 a.m. starting the bake off. We start a little later because we open at 8:30. So we get in here around like 6 o'clock, turn on the ovens, and then from there we will start prepping. And the croissants, in this case these danishes, overnight we have these really cool retarder proofers right here, and what makes them so awesome is that it allows us to have very consistent quality time in and time out. After we fabricate and laminate our croissants, they go through a process of proofing overnight. Before, we used to do this really interesting thing where we would take these baking racks like this, we'd put all the croissants and we'd cover it, and I guess just the natural humidity from the coldness of the laminated dough would establish some humidity and they would rise overnight. So over a process of 8 hours, they would rise. Just grab some almonds. There we go. But the problem with that is we would, you know, if we're starting our baking we're getting here at 6, we're starting our baking around like 6:30. The problem with that is that the croissants can overproof, number one, but we have to be here late, super late sometimes, placing our croissants out to proof, and it's very tedious. A lot of small bakeries kind of go through the same thing, but the moment we started to really get busy, we wanted to look to how we can not just improve quality, but how we can improve efficiency so that we can focus our time as best as we can on delivering the product consistently rather than, you know, being here at 12 a.m. traying croissants for the next day. But yeah, the cool thing about them is they operate as kind of like freezers or refrigerators. And so when we tray the croissants, we'll tray them spaced out like this so that they, you know, don't bake into each other. But when we tray them, we place them in there and they'll stay cold at whatever temperature we want until we set it to proof. So we usually set it to proof around like 3 a.m. And then the croissants will start to, the proof boxes will start to release steam. And then from there, heat, and the croissants will start to rise slowly. So it's cool because it allows us to have consistency, and we know day in, day out, our product is always going to be replicated. The quality is going to be the same. We don't have to worry about a lot of horror stories during summers where there you go.
We're all ready to bake if you want.
Okay. So he's gonna throw them in the oven right now. Check it out. So what he's doing is, as he's placing them, those are our cookies, not croissants.
Croissants go in the bottom.
Yeah. So the cool thing about these ovens is that they have a lot of slots, and we can bake a lot at a time. And on top of that, they're steam injected. So when we bake, we can inject steam. That gives the croissants a better rise, a better kind of moisture content. And yeah, overall they bake the croissants really well, which you'll see. And it only takes about 15 minutes. Ahmed, what are we doing next?
Did you put salt and pepper on the last one?
I put salt, I didn't put pepper. By the way, I don't bake regularly anymore. Amir does all the baking. And so there may be some things that I forget, like in this case, adding the pepper.
It's definitely a lot of fun. There's lots of steam. Let's see. Get this on the next go.
I got it. Oh, you wanna
Yeah, let's do a lot more.
you wanna dose it? Dose it with black pep. You want me to egg wash them right now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
We don't really have anything else to do.
All right, so these are our chocolate croissants. And like I was talking about these proofers before, the cool thing is, like, for example, if you want to come here, check it out. I'm gonna open the door. Right now, they've been proofed, but it turns back to a refrigerator. So we cool them, not too cold, but we cool them to stop the proofing. And that's another thing. It just allows us to, if you don't cool them right after, what happens is they continue to proof, and then you get croissants that might rise a little too much. And the consistency of overproof croissants is like, it's really, it's just really bready. You know, it's not bad, but you want to have like really nice layer separation. In this case, right now, what we're doing is egg washing. So egg washing, this is really what gives it that caramelization when it bakes and that golden color. Some people, they use a variety of things. This is one of the things that is often overlooked and not considered as important, but it's very important because it really is, the presentation and the exterior of your croissant. And in this case, we just use whole eggs and salt. That's it. We don't add anything else. Some people will add, cream, milk, dilute it a little, maybe some water. We find with our croissants, it's just whole eggs and salt. The salt gives it a little bit of saltiness in the crust, and a little flavor. And then the whole eggs will give it, this really nice brown caramelized color. This is honestly one of the most therapeutic things, except for when we know we have a crazy day and we know we're doing 1,000 of these. But in this case, on a weekday, not quite 1,000, but it's just nice, and sometimes the tray moves around, so you gotta realign it so they don't bake into each other. So these croissants rose about 60% of their full size. That's what you want after, after the proofing's done. You want about 60 to 65% rise, for us at least, how we like them. And then the remaining, especially because we have steam injected ovens, the remaining 30 to 40% will be in the oven. You want it to kind of be like you want it to be almost there, but not quite. And that way it can just kind of spring and rise in the oven. It's really cool. I'm sure if you look at them right now, you'll see, is there chocolate in there?
There's one chocolate in the oven.
Okay.
But I had 2 friends.
So I do these one at a time. He's actually speedy over here. He's able to do 2 at a time. I don't trust myself. I think if I go that fast, I'm gonna ruin them.
Man, if you got a hand free, you might as well use it.
All right. So we got this. Should I egg wash all these?
Yeah, so we need 14 ready for the next one.
Okay, for the next bake, okay. Can you give me the sesame, please?
Yeah.
Thanks. So these are our turkey ham and Gruyere. These are really good. We do the same things with these, except that we throw sesame seeds on top. It's really interesting how, over the span of the last 2 years, we've grown a lot as a bakery, a lot of changes. There's certain things that just, you don't change, like brushing the croissants. We looked at how can we, because when you do so many in a day, you think of like, how can you be more efficient? How can you maximize your time better? But in this case, we found some people spray them, but for us, brushing them is the superior way. It takes time. Some things just take time. You can't maximize every little thing. You should try, but we found that brushing just gives us the best color, best consistency. So over the last few years, as we've grown our bakery, we didn't have any proofers. We didn't have the oven we have right now. We had a 4-slot oven, so we can bake 4 trays at a time every 15 minutes. So we would, on our busiest days, we would bake for, like, it'd be like a 6 to 7 hour bake. It would be, like, the last one that's being sold is coming out the oven. And so now we're like just a lot more efficient in that respect, but you want to always, when you improve efficiency and just overall scale your product, you always want to make sure that quality is never sacrificed and it's always there with it. So ideally, as you get better and nicer equipment, you want that equipment to make your product taste better. And I think in this case, our ovens, our proofers, us standardizing a lot of things has really helped our quality stay consistent, whether it's 100 degrees outside or whether it's 60 degrees, you know?
Yeah, the proofers definitely help a ton.
Yeah. All right, oh, I forgot one. Sometimes we forget one, or sometimes, because these kind of look similar to chocolate. I know you may think how there's cheese in them, but we overlook it sometimes because it's round on top, and we'll throw sesame seeds on our chocolate accidentally. So if you've ever got one with sesame seeds, you know why. Ooh. One more, missed it. In terms of quality, one of the things that's, believe it or not, like a croissant fresh out the oven is not the best thing. It's like, a few days ago I had one like 5 minutes out the oven, and I regret it instantaneously because it's so hot that you can't really taste anything. But the best for me is like 30, 40 minutes after it's baked. It's still like warm, it's kind of crunchy, soft, but you can taste all the butter, the flavor in that croissant. But the goal has always been, as we, scale the business, improve efficiency, and invest in equipment, is like, we love the fact that you can come in and this isn't all baked at 2 a.m. and you come in, everything's ready. It's like being baked as we open, and so people are getting fresh products, and it hasn't been sitting for hours. It's not stale. So the goal is, within 2 hours, hopefully, of the croissant being baked, that window, that croissant is sold and consumed. And we're very fortunate to sell out almost every day. My bad. All right. Boom. Got the sprinkling from the gods, and now we Okay, what else do we have? Chocolate. You want me to do all these down the line? Ahmed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just as long as we have 14, we'll be good.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A lot of things become obsolete as you grow up. Counting never does. All right. What's up?
Yeah, the cookies are tricky.
Cookies?
Yeah.
Why?
Just, it's very easy for them to be a little bit too wet and underbaked or a little bit too overbaked and dry. Give that perfect little sweet spot. Requires a lot of attention.
How are they looking right now? Oh, they look good.
Maybe not a minute, but they'll be done in a second.
Did you bang them?
I give them a little tap together.
Okay. Yeah, the peach ones are leaking. That's my bad. I overfilled them. Like I said, I don't do this every day anymore, and so I have to refer to Amir in regards to what we do.
Yeah, I can still use 1 minute.
It's kind of crazy to think about how many, in a span of 2 years, how many croissants we've made. It's pretty, it's very humbling, honestly.
Or is it like 600 on the weekday?
But just like, no, I'm saying over a span of like 2 years, it's pretty crazy. So what we're looking for here in this chocolate croissant, if you want to take a look, is you see it start to separate and the layers start to kind of separate within each one. You get that rise. Not quite, but they're starting to kind of just start to pull apart. And then in the oven, especially when we release the steam, that's when they just spring up. Underproof croissants, we've all been there, you know. I'd be lying if I said we haven't. You know, any small business who bakes artisanal products that are made from scratch, we're susceptible to so many things like weather, your AC breaks, which has happened to us, your fridges don't work, and you have no option. You have to make croissants the next day, and so you got to figure out how. But
Yeah, the AC breaking is like the roughest one.
AC breaking?
Some will literally melt in your hands while you're shaping.
Yeah. But you know what? When the conditions have been too warm, I went to sleep that night thinking it's gonna be a disaster the next day. The croissants are not gonna look good, and they actually look. It's like some of the best. Don't bang them too much. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, those times where it's too warm, they actually come out looking really good. And that's why mistakes are important. Is mistakes, sometimes we think we know everything and like this is the right way, but mistakes force us to deviate from our path, and through that deviation it forces us to see maybe there's something we're doing that isn't as good or isn't as optimal. And with that, we learn, you know, a lot of how we got here is through mistakes. And we used to actually proof the croissants a lot higher.
Yeah, so I need to bring the rack up.
Okay.
That way?
Yeah. Oh, to place them?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, space becomes an issue real quick. Just having multiple racks in the kitchen, multiple people. I think the beach came out alright. I'm only a few pulled over.
Let me see. Oh, they look great, dude. I think the extra kind of gives it that carameliness at the edge.
Yeah, probably.
They look great. Voila. People always ask us, "Are you French?" And we appreciate we appreciate it because it means, you know, we're doing something that is French really well, but we're not. We pretend we are. We pretend we are sometimes when we say our little French words, but we're not. Only thing French about us is our croissants.